Ooh. Hi. For everyone who had a relative who's passed away over the last 12 months, I feel you. I'm with you, and there's a really good chance they're here. I just wanted to say that. Rumi says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. My 87-year-old mother went into Hollywood Presbyterian on Valentine's Day with what was like the beginnings of pneumonia and dehydration, and that began roughly a 4-month battle against a giant healthcare system that beforehand really didn't care about old people, and now during a pandemic was basically just trying to push them away because, you know, why don't you just die because you're holding things up? And I'm an only child, so everything was on me. And so I'm there alongside the scattered relatives that actually go and visit their family when they go into a hospital. And we're all just like standing around doing our best Shirley MacLaine impersonations from Terms of Endearment. We're all like, give my daughter the shot! Except it's all for basic stuff. Like, she has an ear infection, so will you give her the eardrops? Did you get that? Like, she just wants a cup of ice, chips, and you just put them on the table. But we're all wearing masks, right? Like, I got masks and they got masks, so it's just like some really bad episode of Charlie Brown. Like, everybody's just like, right? And I'm incredibly overwhelmed and I'm exhausted, and I was really guilty and resentful that I couldn't get my life together enough to provide a level of comfort for her so that we could just enjoy each other as human beings. So every night I collapse into bed and I numb myself by browsing through dating apps with no intention of meeting anybody, because most of them, all the authenticity is squeezed out of them, and it's very much like an Us magazine at the dentist's office. It's just like going through, and I mean, I've got absolutely nothing in the tank right now, but somebody liked me, and they reached out and they said hello, and they started talking to me, and her name was Lisa, and she's pansexual. And some of her pictures were incredible, and other ones looked like a completely different person. So I had like no idea what I was getting, and she says hello, and we start chatting, and her desire like reaches out of the phone and grabs me by the neck and is like pulling me down, and that usually works for me. But I'm an open wound right now, right? So all I'm doing is actually spilling stories about myself, But she responds as if that was her idea of sex. She's recently separated. She's an accomplished chef who actually left fine dining in search of authentic communication and meaningful conversation. Right? She sends her number, and now we're FaceTiming, which I've only done like 3 times, and is awkward and intimate and suddenly familiar. Like we're a long-established couple. And she says, I knew we would match because you had listed a bicycle thief on your profile. But she's a queer woman, right? Who battles a giant patriarchy in this industry and in everything else, obviously, like literature. But she likes Nabokov and Woody Allen, and she understands that inherent conflict. And we become addicted to these nightly conversations where we get undressed and we get into bed and we talk. And she asked me when I'm coming up to Ventura, but there's no time to meet anybody or real reason for me to meet, but I can't resist the warmth of this acceptance. And she says, well, time is a construct and distance is relative. Okay. I'm going to Ventura. Well, and she's prepping for a big executive chef interview, which is probably the biggest job she's ever had in her life. But she takes a moment to send me this text that says, if you come up early, we can go for a hike. And I respond like, I can't. I'm on a death watch at this senior center because now mom's cancer that I didn't know about is now in stage 4 and she's in hospice. And I can't, and she just stops and she responds, she says, I'm so sorry, that was really selfish of me. I mean, it's amazing what you're doing now. Anyway, the fact that you can talk, we can just push all of this. And it just hit me and I was thinking, I had pushed a career and a wife and children and a family for, 35 years in service of this woman. I'm just not going to push anything anymore. So I take a photograph of hiking shoes, and I'm in Vernon. And I go to Ventura. And that begins this journey of like 7 weeks that were filled with magical trips to the supermarket. Seriously, where I am marveling at this like Dr. Doolittle in yoga pants, who's like talking to the vegetables and the salmon and the chocolate from a position of authenticity and gratitude that would blow your mind and creates these massive feasts on a single like laptop, like cooktop stove, right? And it culminates in these giant meals on the floor of this guest house in Ventura. And like, this is incredible. Well, it's just spinach, but it's real spinach from a farmer's market. And there were wildflowers, right? And nighttime tinctures, and morning smoothies, and tuberose soaps, and I lose 10 pounds, right? And I'm eating. She's created this vegan tuna out of tomato cores, right? I'm drinking room temperature water from a filtered pitcher that cost me $56. Right? Did you know that like cremini mushrooms, right? If you pull the stems out and you just saute the caps, they're delicious. I have actual happy feet. I have given happy feet, but I've never had happy feet. The most shocking part of all of this is that every single one of my personal insecurities just happen to be the things that she finds irresistible. Right? Like, I mean, over the past year, like, I gained the COVID-19, right? But we're lying in bed, and I'm trying to keep it together because she is playing with my soft belly button. She's like, I just like your body feels so good. Like, my ex, to seal the deal of leaving, said the cruelest thing that she could, which was also true, which was, I don't like your smell. Right? But this woman is all up in my armpit, man. She's like, I just can't get enough of it. I mean, all of us, we have like a list of movies and music and things that you just don't listen to because you know that it's gonna wreck you. Like, that's our Netflix queue, right? But we can't get there because we're just constantly wrapped up in this constant revelation and acceptance. And we are so far ahead of our skis that it's very clear that we actually label ourselves NFSW. Because there is no way that we can be out in public together, like spitting out I love yous at each other like little children, like with mouthfuls of water splashing around in a pool. But it's okay, because we'll catch up. Because time is a constant, and distance is relative. And mom goes into hospice with stage 4, and her body's like compressing into a larger version of her arthritic hands. And she dies quickly and painfully. And Lisa's future is completely uncertain. She has no idea what she's going to do. And she's terrified And our lifeline becomes this nightly FaceTime, which now can't be audio. Like, it's just not enough. And we just talking to each other, but we're really just talking, because if we stopped talking, we would just sit there and look at each other. And get ready, because you're going to get that job. Because they know what they're getting. And your food has a chance to actually change the world. So, how do you say that? How do you know that? Nobody's ever said anything like that to me. Who are you? She texts me on Mother's Day at a family gathering. I'm talking about you. I'm like, what? To your judgmental family, who actually still blame you for your separation. Why? Because they keep bugging me. They want to know why I'm smiling so. I told them about your blue eyes. I don't have blue eyes. I have hazel eyes. Right? But we went to look in the mirror, and I looked really closely in the mirror, and oh my God, like, there's a little tiny blue ring right around my retina. And she's like, see? See? And so we're catching up. She signs the contract to be the executive chef at this restaurant. And like 4 or 5 days later, as I'm getting my mom back from USPS in a box, she texts me, although it's clear that we care for each other, I no longer feel the same intense connection that I did. I doubted it when it was here, and I have no explanation for why it's gone. And we can text a little bit if you'd like about it, but I don't really want to talk or face it. And I'm sorry for being such a coward and not wanting to. And so I immediately shut down. And my friends were like, it hurts now, but you gotta remember the good things. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm 56 years old. I am perfectly capable of garnering whatever life lessons I need by myself. I finally meet someone who loves me in a way I didn't realize was exactly what I needed. And then she dismisses me like I'm someone from the kitchen. Like, that's a waste of 7 weeks, man. No, I am dismissing her. I got nothing. And I could feel my stomach twisting, like compressing, like my mom's body was. And it reminded me of the last time I saw her waking moments, or in this hospice. And I'm got a spoon, I'm feeding her water from the spoon in her mouth because she stopped talking. And I'm trying to make eye contact with her, like just to decide, like, are you there? Like, do you see me? Do you even want this? Do you still want to be here? Like, just let me know. And I'm catching her. I'm looking deep into her big brown eyes, and right around outside, there's these little blue circles. Damn it! I got something from this. I can't deny it. So I talked to a friend of mine who's a psychic, and I tell her all about this, and she says, well, you're twin flames. And I'm like, what? What is that? Anybody know what that is? Okay. Seriously. She goes, it's for everybody else. It's your mirror soul. It's the other half of you, right? Like ancient gods, like Greek gods, they feared the power of humans, who at that time like had 4 arms and legs and like 2 faces and 1 head. And so Zeus came around and he cut us all in half because he was worried and intimidated. And so they're you. They're the other half of you. And the whole purpose of this is to wake each other up, to reflect to each other the wounds that you still have unsettled, so that you take care of them in this lifetime. But they're you. And I'm like, oh my God. So we're saying, so the way that she loved me, the specific way that she cared for me, right, that felt like home. Like, is that a blueprint? Is that a blueprint of the way that I'm supposed to be loving myself? Am I supposed to be picking out the best food that I can find, the most nourishing food that would make me happy? Am I supposed to watch Eternal Sunshine and listen to Bon Iver and like sit on a couch and cry and just sit with myself and allow myself to do that and just say it's okay, just let it out? Am I supposed to call myself in the middle of the day just to hear my voice and to hear me bitch to myself about anything and not offer up any solution, but just sit and listen? Like, am I supposed to make dates with myself where I get all excited and I go and I pick out all the clothes that I know that I would love, and I run, I get in my car and I drive as fast as I can, I try to stay within the speed limit until I get there and I get to the door and I can't wait for that door to open so I can wrap my arms around myself and hug myself in that moment, and then right at that moment that is feeling too vulnerable and you want to break away, I hold on a little bit tighter until I surrender, and then I can let myself go a little bit and say, I'm so glad that I found you, because I've been looking for you for my entire life, and I really believe that you didn't exist. And I love you more than I could possibly say. Isn't that how I'm supposed to be loving myself? Wow. Okay, let's try that.